Okay. So, Bill, I was working at a company, a real estate syndication company, and walked into a conference room with a really long conference table. And there was this guy sitting at the end of the table in a suit. And literally, the first thing I
That
thought to
one?
myself, yeah, this one.
Oh my
First
gosh.
thing, no,
I can't see it.
exactly.
Okay.
And the first thing I thought to myself, just boom, was that guy does not belong in a suit. And so
I can't see it. I'm
I
sorry.
know, and I was really curious. I mean, like that was appealing because it was a like real estate syndication company and very male dominated. Stupid. Anyway, so within to make a long story short, within a year we started dating, moved in together, bought a house, and started Binary Arts.
Okay.
And literally, Bill had the wooden puzzles, the cat, the horse. You had a hexadecimal and a spin out. And I didn't know anything about puzzles, and I probably still really don't. But I'd always wanted to start a company, even though I didn't really know what that meant. And so I just remember us saying, like, we'll make these and we'll start a business. And so then I went to this little conference thing, speakers, people who had started businesses, and I'm a operations person. How does things work? And I came home, and we just lived 3 blocks from here, and I remember Bill came out and I put my hand on top of the car. I remember exactly the moment. You do too, right? And I said, we can do this. We're going to start a company, and we had no idea what we were
And that
doing.
was in 1985, you said?
84.
84 is when
It
that
finally
was.
popped in the beginning of 85.
Yeah, and we incorporated the company in that fall, and then on February 4th of 19...
Now, just to be clear, the company that we worked for, this real estate company, had turned itself into a Ponzi scheme.
Okay.
So it was heating up, and it was going to have a big blow up, and things were crazy. But anyway,
Yeah, so Bill was the head of the front end of the syndication and putting these partnerships together and new computer systems and all that. And I was the head of investor relations, so we were bookend, so we could see the whole picture. And they didn't start out doing illegal things, but they ended up, it was a Ponzi scheme.
Okay.
So, in fact, the owner, was on America's Most Wanted.
Oh my gosh.
He bought an SNL and siphoned $25 million off of it, which seems like small change these days for what people are doing. But anyway, so I one day called Bill because we worked and I said, I got to resign. I'm the head of investor relations. People are doing bad stuff here. And he's like, great, we'll go out to dinner and celebrate. We had already incorporated starting it. And he's like, great, I'll keep working. You'll get it started. And then at the same moment I resigned, Bill got fired.
Okay.
Which was kind of a blessing. He wouldn't cook the books. He wouldn't sleep with his boss. That was really what was happening. And so then that night, February 4th, we went out to dinner, and that was the beginning. And
in 1984.
And he got 5 months severance.
February 4th, 85.
February 4th, 85. And he got 5 months severance. And I had tried so hard to get fired and didn't get any severance. But that was it. So my role is I'm an operations person, like just making, stuff happen. Bill is the brilliant strategist, product guy, everything else. And I'm more like, okay, we need to figure out an accounting system. We need to figure out distribution. We need to figure out shipping. So I like figuring out how things work. And that's why it worked, I think. Because we're good at different things. Yeah. So, and I was never a puzzle person.
So you just didn't have any other, you never quit and went somewhere else. You just stayed with
the business?
The company. Yeah.
No, we founded it together.
And you've always stayed with it together, and then you sold your company together.
Yeah.
Together we hired a company president when we took the advice that a good entrepreneur at some point should step aside and let the professionals take over. And agonized while people screwed it up, and then we had to come back in and redo it. But no, we were towards the end, towards the last few years, 2012 to 2017, and Andrea was like, I got to get the hell out of here. I'm sick of this. I've done it.
No. Excuse me. Let me speak for myself. That is not at all how I felt. I felt that I had done everything creative in an operational sort of functional way that I wanted to do. And it was kind of like I had done what I wanted to do. So I never thought about it that way. You should never characterize it that way.
I characterize it exactly the same way you did, but with my special
with
sauce.
your sauce. Exactly.
You get it.
I do. Yep, I get it.
So and we're very lucky because actually when we decided to sell it, we were totally on the same page and wanted to sell it. It wasn't him pushing me or me pushing him.
So do you guys have anything to do with it now?
I'm still. They gave me a 5-year contract to stay on.
So we sold in 2017.
Yeah.
And that ended
22.
Yeah.
October. And it was kind of funny because they had high hopes for me, but at the highest level, you hope that the organization will go. But the organization just had so many things that it had to figure out for itself. The wider Robbins River organization and then Think Fun within it. That I kept bringing in these ideas, and they go, "This is really good, but we're kind of busy."
Absorb them. They couldn't.
And
marinate them.
So it was this incredible thing of the luck of having kind of a gradual slide path into retirement. I was treated like royalty, and I was able to contribute. The company itself was struggling a little bit with its identity and didn't want me to be the one telling it what its identity was, so there was only so much I could do. But I was welcome, and I felt great about all the people and everything.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, and so by the time that arrangement ended at the end of 5 years, and said, we don't want to lose you, so let's just keep it on as a consulting thing. I was ready to just kind of go emotionally now. I don't have to worry that I'm on the hook for having to think about psychically, having to think about the company. But I'm still involved.
We have jointly a monthly call with the new head of Think Fun.
That's my next question, because you started out as Binary Arts, and when I first moved to Hong Kong, was teaching over there. A lifetime goes past, and I knew it as Binary Arts, and then all of a sudden, I'm on the internet one day, and there's this new company called Think Fun, and I was teaching at the time. I was teaching kindergarten, and they had this teachers' bags without the boxes, and you could get them for $1 a piece, and it was amazing. I bought thousands of dollars worth of this stuff.
You were the one.
And I had it sent over to Hong Kong, and it was just like I was
Wasn't
giving
that
it.
brilliant?
It was a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
That was an absolutely fantastic idea. And I had so much of it sent over, and we used it in our school, and I was telling my friends who were teachers, you got to buy these things. These are great with the students. And I'm an English teacher, but it's got fantastic fiddle factor. And then I was working with autistic children and, lots of mental handicaps. And this was fantastic. So when did it become Think Fun instead of Binary Arts? Because I realized that, oh, wait a minute, that's the same company with the spin out puzzle.
Right.
Yeah.
When did that happen, and why?
2004.
Why? So
There's a
I
specific
gave a
reason.
talk to the MIT Enterprise Forum in 1995, where things were exploding. Rush Hour was about to come out. We had all these ideas of the future. The internet was coming, and hair on fire. And went up and gave this 20-minute presentation. We're going all this stuff. And in the MIT Enterprise Forum, they get an entrepreneur to come up, give their piece, and then sit in a chair in the middle of the room, in the middle of the stage.
Get roasted.
And say nothing while everybody has their comments. So you just got to sit there and take it and listen, whatever the comments are. And first comment came up, the guy stands up and says, "Lose the name." And other people are going, yeah. And it came out, "We had no idea what you were. Binary Arts, what does it even mean? We come to this thing, we don't know. You're a toy company? We thought software. It makes no sense what that name even is."
Okay, that makes sense.
So there was a 10-year period where we knew that that Binary Arts was a glass ceiling name. Very cute. And it was a testament to Mr. Keister and the binary and all this kind of stuff. But it just didn't resonate with anyone. It had no emotional understanding for growth. The people who knew us loved us, but the people who didn't, it was really hard. So we knew we needed to get a new name. And the
But we
question was,
didn't want to just change it for the sake
what are you
of
going
it.
to, I mean, crazy company,
Yeah.
I mean, we needed something that would further us.
And
And-
allow us to be branded in a store, which we were one of the first people to do that in some stores.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with a game company, the tradition would be your Candyland or your Monopoly or your something. The corporate parent doesn't really. No, and then there are other things where it's a series and Lego, where it's Lego and Lego 1, Lego 2, Lego 3. And so we were trying to create the idea of a company with logic puzzles where you would get to know the company and everything they had under the umbrella you'd want. Oh,
And we were so
another binary arts game, that's great. Another, not just Rush Hour and not just Zingo and not just. So we needed a good enough name for that. And in 2003, we met this guy who we were impressed by, who was one of these many people that we've come up with over the years. But basically was a brand man, a consulting saying, here's what you need to do to get your company smoothed up and onto the cloud. And his big thing was, the first thing is you got to lose the name, because it's like, I'm not going to lose the name. We can do other things than that, but don't want to lose the name. We've been after that. He said, I know, but we're going to lose the name.
Well, I mean, he was right.
He was right.
Yeah.
So we hired him on board, and he came in and he said, so here's the name. And the name he came up with, he had 3 names. And as we later, found out, if you have 3 names, that means you have 2 lousy names.
Right.
And the
And
name
one
you
good
want,
name.
and you make
One
sure
good
that the customer picks the one that you want, the client. And so, his, Evergreen,
Wait,
Flowco, and Mind Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Which of these 3 do you think is good? It's I don't know, that Mindco, I guess.
Mind Fun.
Mind Fun.
Which you could mispronounce Mind Fuck.
So
Yeah.
So we were like,
Which was a problem.
I guess-
we realized later.
I don't know, we're paying a lot of money and you're a fancy consultant and we're kind of
This
going
is
down
what
the
you're getting
chute. So
for us?
I guess we're Mind Fun. So we said, okay, we're Mind Fun. And we
But it
said-
was Mind Fun, Think Fun.
that was the tagline.
Yeah.
Kind of an odd tagline. But
Yeah, I know.
there it was.
When I think about it, I'm like, what the hell?
But then it turned out that one of the Jeopardy champions had a personal identity, which was Mind Fun, and he had mindfun.com already.
But nobody had
And the consultant didn't do the due diligence to
Oh,
type in mindfun.com and find out. And this
The
guy,
internet was new, right?
yeah,
It was.
right, but
Remember we went to Toy Fair and we had the wrap on the thing that said Mind Fun?
yeah, I mean we
Spent
went
some
to
money.
a big thing to
Business
launch
cards,
Mind Fun.
stationery, everything.
Just as this guy was going like, I will hound you to the ends of the earth. You will never
So we
have a
abandoned
day
it.
of peace if you do Mind Fun. It was like, stop.
We're not
So you took
spending
the
our-
second part of the tag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, it took us
Which
a
is
while.
way better.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah,
that
absolutely.
saved us. So
It really
you know,
did.
we'll be thankful.
And we just said we're not going to spend our time in lawsuits.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
But it had the consequence almost immediately of Target came in. It wasn't just because of that.
Barnes and Noble.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Target came. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the big commercial companies sort of recognized that. Okay, now you've got a good name, so we can do something with that. And we were sad to leave Binary Art behind, but it was sort of simultaneous with me saying it's time to reinvent the company and move towards being much more explicitly educational.
Yeah.
So the bags and the programs and all that kind
And
of
that
stuff.
was fantastic. That was.
I agree.
You know what? I was working with low income students at the time, and these kids, they loved it. They got to experience something they never had before, and I bought so many of them so cheap out of my own pocket, which all teachers do, right?
Yes.
And every one of those kids that year went home with a puzzle, and
Right.
they
Oh.
were just, I've got one kid, Brain, until we left Hong Kong, anyway, he would send me a Christmas card every year because of working with him, and that was
Really?
one of the things, and
Oh.
he ended up going to, he ended up in Harvard. He was a Korean student, and he was a great student, but he came from a low-income
Yeah,
background,
yeah.
and he's in this low-income school, and I don't even know which puzzle it was, but it was a Think Fun puzzle because you had that program.
Yeah.
Why was his name Brain?
He was dyslexic, and his name was Brian, and
Oh.
I worked so hard with him, and he could never turn it around, and the last card I got, it was signed Brain.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
good for
it was
him.
cute.
That's amazing. I mean, we always believed that we even tried with Target to get them to create a whole new way of doing things where they just had a front thing that said what it was and the games in bags to get rid of wasteful packaging.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Oh, that was fantastic. I mean, I got things in like Ziploc bags.
Bags are
and it was just
freaking awesome.
I still have in our museums. There's a lot of the Think Fun games that I don't have in boxes, which the packaging is good. It gives you a lot of history. So I've been going back and buying them.
Yeah.
But I've still got I've got one copy of all of those in those bags, including the plastic Ziploc bags with the print on top. You know, I don't know what you call it.
Oh yeah, no, they were even bags that had all the piece numbers and all that. I know. I mean, we all as a company, the bag. I mean, as a parent, like you just need a freaking bag to put all the games in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have another question, Bill. There was Andrea. There was a set that you put out, and I think it had like 4 or 5 puzzles in it. It was the rectangle, the
disentanglement puzzles.
It was the educational set.
It was the educational set, and it says set 1, which implies there's going to be a set 2.
Did that ring a bell?
Was it a suitcase?
It wasn't a suitcase. Well, you could. It was initially, but then you sell them in the stores or you did sell them. There was the chair. There was the get the rectangle out of the hole puzzle. I believe there was the pyramid. The 2-piece pyramid, and maybe
Be Puzzled,
one or
was it called?
Something like that. It was a set. It was a box set, and it said
like
set 1.
Consumer size.
Yeah, and it said set 1, which implies there was going to be a set 2. Was there ever a set 2?
I think I know what that is.
We never did a set 2.
It was kind of white, and it had the puzzles on it did have a handle.
No, it did. No, not that one.
Didn't have a handle.
There are 2 different ones. One would be for the school market.
Oh,
okay.
It was bigger.
But there was a mass produced sent out to the.
Did you ever see Game Club?
No.
As a teacher?
No.
Well, you were in Hong Kong, I guess, so maybe you
I wouldn't have.
I brought Tanya Thompson in to be.
Oh my God.
Education, so.
Yeah. That's how she got her start in her whole career. With you.